Coming up, Trump defeats the old global order and major takeaways from last week's Senate confirmation hearings. A panel discussion at the World Economic Forum examined the reality of the Trump ascendancy.
We need to also factor in not only who's won, which is Trump, but who's lost, which is to say us. And I guess I would throw into that the epitome of the us who is losing here is Europe. That the European Union and by and large its member states have misread the direction where events were going. The causes that it is interested in, climate, human rights, some others, as well as the methods of diplomacy that it prefers, are simply being gradually kind of marginalized.
So, it's official, and the WEF has confirmed it. The Trump era means that the old global order has been overturned and is dead. And this is certainly not before time. This is part of the European cultural cringe since the end of World War II, where they have become more and more irrelevant in global affairs. The Europeans are trying very hard through the likes of the UN and the WEF to reassert what they see as their rightful place in the globe, and not with those uncultured new kids on the block, the Americans. And this was foreshadowed by none other than Klaus Schwab's right-hand man, Yuval Noah Harari.
Are you concerned that Trump might be elected again shortly?
I think it's very likely. And if it happens, it is likely to be the kind of like the death blow to what remains of the global order. And he says it openly. Now, again, it should be clear that many of these politicians, they present a false dichotomy, a false binary vision of the world, as if you have to choose between patriotism and globalism, between being loyal to your nation and being loyal to some kind of, global government or whatever.
Harari saw that Trump would kill off the old global order, but he has a completely false view of the reality of international relations and global order. He seems to think that looking at things as a dichotomy in terms of nation first or globalist supremacy is false. It isn't, and we have seen the results of the globalist experiment in far too many ways, such as COVID policy, the WHO, climate change agenda, among a host of others. And we see that these global elites believe the power should be theirs, not the citizens of a nation. If you like this content, please like, share and subscribe. Now, just look at how evil some of the thinking with the likes of the WEF is again. Here is Harari again.
You have a small elite that pushes things in its own interests, even if it doesn't benefit the vast majority of the population. This has happened so many times previously in history, and it's probably going to happen again. One of the biggest dangers to the planet today is this technological utopia, because probably for the elite it will work. If bad comes to worst, and when the flood comes, the scientists will build a Noah's Ark for the elite, leaving the rest to drown, the rest of the people and then the rest of the ecosystem. But they are likely to be able to construct this technological Noah's Ark, which is probably what much of the elite is counting on.
Now here is the face of true evil in the wants of the global elites. They're already looking at how to go about effectively getting rid of those that are not in their elite club using technology. They're looking at a sort of Noah's Ark, not wanting to deal with real people. They're wanting a dystopian utopia for themselves, and to hell with the rest. Thank God Trump won the election. Imagine what the world would look like with this lot driving this agenda for the next 4 years. Remember, this is WEF head Klaus Schwab's right-hand man, someone who many believe is the intellectual driver behind the Klaus Schwab front. Then we look back at the week's Senate confirmation hearings, starting with Senator Adam Schiff and Kash Patel.
Associating with now the President of the United States in song were convicted of attacking police officers. Is that who we want running the FBI? I want you to turn around. There are Capitol Police officers behind you. They're guarding us. Take a look at them right now. Turn around.
I'm looking at you. You're talking to me.
No, look at them. I want you to look at them if you can, if you have the courage to look them in the eye, Mr. Patel, and tell them you're proud of what you did. Tell them you're proud that you raised money off of people that assaulted their colleagues, that pepper sprayed them, that beat them with poles. Tell them you're proud of what you did, Mr. Patel. They're right there. They're guarding you today. Tell them how proud you are.
That's an abject lie, and you know it. I've never, ever accepted violence against law enforcement. I've worked with these men and women, as you know,
you
my entire
glorified
life,
it in song,
and I did not make a single dime out of it.
In song. Well, let me.
How about you ask them if I have their backs, and let's see about that answer. Let me ask you this.
Schiff really is a nasty person, making false assertions and inferences. He attempts to play games with Patel in terms of some sort of emotive gotcha. However, Patel doesn't play by Schiff's rules and makes the point that Schiff is looking at this in the wrong way, and that he should endeavour to find out what the police actually think of Patel. Then Senator Amy Klobuchar has her go.
The FBI headquarters where they investigate cybercrime and terrorism should be shut down and opened as a deep state.
Hey, Mr. Chair.
As a museum. Did he say that the headquarters should be shut down?
Mr. Chair.
I deserve an answer to that question. He is asking to be head of the FBI, and he said that their headquarters should be shut down.
Mr. Chair, parliamentary inquiry.
You got anything you want to say, Mr. Patel, before I go on to Senator Lee?
Simply this. If the best attacks on me are going to be false accusations and grotesque mischaracterizations, the only thing this body is doing is defeating the credibility of the men and women at the FBI. I stood with them here in this country. In every theater of war we have, I was on the ground in service of this nation. And any accusations leveled against me that I would somehow put political bias before the Constitution are grotesquely unfair. And I will have you reminded that I have been endorsed by over 300,000 law enforcement officers to become the next director of the FBI. Let's ask them.
Once again, another Democrat senator attempting to misrepresent statements by not including the context in which the statement was made. The Democrats tried all sorts of gotchas with Patel, and I think they must be very disappointed with just how little of any punches that they managed to land in any way, shape or form. Patel is clearly the right guy for the job. Then we go to some levity at the end of Klobuchar's question period, where she had an extra 3 minutes with her questions.
Mr. Chairman. Yes, what do you want?
I love this guy. Mr. Chairman, I'm unlike Senator Tillis. I mean, if we're going to start this, I want an extra 3 minutes.
Well,
now, my friend Senator Klobuchar went 3 minutes over.
So, here what you're saying is the chairman wasn't a very good chairman by not shutting her up. But I've gone through this before, and I think I know how to handle it. And
I think you're a star-spangled awesome chairman. I just want to say that for the record. But if you're going to let somebody over there go 3 minutes over, I want my extra 3 minutes.
Well, let's see if it's abused by anybody else before we make that decision.
I'm just telling you, I'm going to abuse it.
Well,
I certainly have nothing to add here to Senator Kennedy's inimitable style. The awesome disarming senator has absolutely, in a perfect way, made his point, and in a very amusing way, I might add. Then we have Senator Welch.
It's a separate question. Do you believe civilian ownership of machine guns is protected by the Second Amendment?
Whatever the courts rule in regards to the Second Amendment is what is protected by the Second Amendment.
Yet another telling response, colleague.
Welsh does not get the answer that he wants from Patel. And despite the fact that Patel's answer is completely 100% correct, he is not happy and attempts to paint the answer as if Patel is being less than forthcoming. This performance of the Democrat senators has been absolutely abysmal. They are unprofessional, they are not interested in elucidating answers that would illuminate the skills and abilities of the nominees or lack thereof. Rather, they use simple emotive trickery to try to make the nominees look bad. Then we have Senator Warner questioning Tulsi Gabbard.
Ms. Gabbard, a simple yes or no question. Do you still think Edward Snowden is brave?
Mr. Vice Chairman, Edward Snowden broke the law. I do not agree with or support with all of the information and intelligence that he released, nor the way in which he did it. There would have been opportunities for him to come to you on this committee or seek out the IG to release that information. The fact is, he also, even as he broke the law, released information that exposed egregious, illegal, and unconstitutional programs that are happening within our government that led to serious reforms that Congress undertook.
Chairman.
Warner asks a really stupid question, asking if Snowden was brave. Of course Snowden was brave. That does not mean that you have to agree with what he did, any less than kamikaze pilots were also brave, even though they weren't on our side. Bravery is not something only the good or the law-abiding possess. Once again, a really stupid attempt at a gotcha. And again, Gabbard deflected the ridiculous question really well. And then we have the ridiculous Elizabeth Warren questioning RFK.
Of HHS, and I'm asking you to commit right now that you will not take a financial stake in every one of those lawsuits so that what you do as secretary will also benefit you financially down the line.
I'll comply with all the ethical guidelines.
That's not the question. You and I, you have said
You're asking me, Senator, you're asking me not to sue vaccine pharmaceutical companies. Yeah, you are. That's exactly what you're doing.
Here, Warren is trying to defend her big pharma paymasters. She shrieks when it's clear to her that RFK and everyone else knows exactly what she is doing, and that is to try to prevent RFK riding herd very hard on the drug companies. Warren is trying to earn her pay here, but not doing very well. And then we have Bernie Sanders.
I'm going to make America healthier than other countries in the world right now.
Will you guarantee do what every other major country does? That's a simple question.
And by the way, Bernie, the problem of corruption is not just in the federal agencies, it's in Congress too. Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry.
Oh, no,
and protecting their interests.
Oh, I thought that would come. No. I ran for president like you. I got millions and millions of contributions. They did not come from the executives, not one nickel of PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. They came from workers.
In 2020, you were the single largest
because I had small contributions from workers all over this country. Workers,
you were the
not a nickel from corporate
PACs. You were the single largest acceptor of pharmaceutical dollars.
No, from workers in
1.5 million.
Yeah, out of 200.
Sanders, for all his bleating and holier-than-thou attitude, really doesn't like the truth. He loves trying to project that he is purer than driven snow. The fact that RFK pointed out to the liar is that he is not, and he has had massive donations from drug companies. Sanders tries to deflect attention by pointing to the $200 million that he raised and tries to make it appear that, well, it's only $1.5 million from drug companies and that's a nothing. I suggest Bernie Sanders go and ask some citizens whether they think well over $1.5 million is a nothing. What do you think of the globalist WEF agenda being blown apart? Please let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.